Okay, so we had a great weekend. We talked about a lot of stuff this weekend, and what I want to have a quick chat with you is just a little bit deeper level into the structure of the release. And, if you look at the human body, the most outer layer is skin and fascia and musculature. And then once you get down to the musculature, you get down to the osseous structures. And then from the osseous structures, you get into the dura. And then from the dura, and those are all the layers, you get through all those layers, you can actually then restore motion. So each one of those layers, that first soft tissue, let's call it the fascial layer, is what you have to go through first. And to do that, you have to chip away because that person doesn't have motion, they're in spasm. So the line of drive is basically linear with your pisiform. You're driving linear through, linear through, linear through, okay? And once you get down and through those layers, and you got to start down at that C7 to C5 layer area. So you work that C7 to C5 area, and you work that linear motion on your pisiform. Drive, 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 chip, chip, chip. Just breathing and rolling in, and feeling, because it's fascial, you want to feel you start stretching that stuff, okay? Because fascial stuff is like a rubber band. You need to stretch it. That is different than the osseous stuff. We'll get to that in a moment. So the fascial stuff, you are contacting, you are connecting with, you are breathing, working with the body, flowing with the body, and you start leaning in, and you start feeling that pisiform retract as it moves through that fascial rubber band, that fascial tension, that fascial asymmetry. And before you start knowing, that breathing becomes rocking and you're creating some motion. You work that C7 to C5 area, and then you work up the neck into the spring 2, C5 to C1, and you take care of business there. The next step is when you know that you've gotten through that. And how do you know you've gotten through it? Because you actually start feeling the spinous processes, the transverse processes, you feel the lamina, and those are where you start bending things, because bones don't move like rubber bands, okay? They're like levers. So you have to have a different swing, and that's more of a knife edge and collapsing, where you body drop and it's a three-dimensional lever, and it's pop, 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 and you're moving your pisiform three-dimensionally as that three-dimensional lever is overcoming resistance and just body dropping down on it. So it has a lot less wrist motion, which the wrist motion is those long fascial, strokes, okay? In the beginning, they're short, okay? So we've gone through this fascial marble. We start getting a little bit of motion, and then all of a sudden, we're able to feel processes. And you start just cleaning that up. Again, C7 to C5, bring yourself all the way up. And then all you start noticing is you're breathing and moving as you start getting a lot of motion. And you start going in, and once you go in and you get into the dural layer, okay, and the motion layer, that's where you're going to need big dural strokes. And you use the head and you roll the head, and you'll take these big strokes through. And in chiropractic, we see that by torque, where have these big torquing motions. And that's what I do, is I go through these big torquing motions at the end, and I release and release and release, and the head rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls, and you use that three-dimensionally here all the way around to clean up all the three-dimensional tension through the whole body. Okay, well, you can't get to that motion place until you get through the other couple layers, and that is that fascial layer and then that osseous layer. All right, so we started talking about that in Newport, Costa Mesa, in California this past weekend, and we'll continue that discussion soon. Peace and love. Have a great day.